Marine Parade Laksa has another special feature. It's the chili oil. This is no ordinary chili oil. It's made from a 100-year-old recipe crafted by Janggut, who handed it down to the present generation. Mr. Ng Sr. makes the chili oil at Marine Parade's Bedok branch. He is in charge of running that branch along with his wife when she isn't helping her sons in Katong. It takes Mr. Ng more than 4 hours to cook up a pot of this oil. Besides prawn paste, there are other ingredients in it to spice things up.
Thank you very much.
Violet Un, an expert in Nyonya food, has tried all the laksa served in Katong. She says a good bowl of laksa should meet these basic criteria.
Well, the gravy has to be nice and rich. It cannot be too thin. I like to have nice, very fresh prawns, as well as lots of tauge, the crunchiness, you know, and the noodle is sort of not crunchy, it's sort of smooth. As of course, lots of the daun kasum, the leaf. That constitutes a good laksa. I think the spice base is very important.
Marine Parade Laksa certainly makes the grade, but there's one thing you won't find in its laksa: cockles.
We don't use it for cockles. Nowadays, what customer requests, we say, okay, we have for you. That's all. Because all the prawns spawn down the cockles. So our prawns, fish cake are all fresh.
3 to 8 Katong Laksa is an institution in Katong. Nancy's special brand of laksa has attracted customers from all walks of life. They range from regular folks to TV and movie stars. 3 to 8 Katong Laksa have moved and moved, but one thing remains the same: Nancy's special recipe. The main ingredients in Nancy's laksa are pretty much the same as other laksa, such as chili paste, dried shrimps, salt and coconut milk. But she also adds something extra, which gives her laksa a special aroma and a creamy flavor. Many customers like her laksa precisely because of this special flavor.
It's very rich in texture. After eating one, you feel like having another bowl.
It's not so spicy, unlike the other laksa that I've tasted so far, and it's full of ingredients.
Nancy makes the tastiest laksa. It's really good.
Nancy also makes a special broth for her laksa gravy. It takes about an hour to boil the broth. First the chili paste, then the coconut milk, the dried shrimps and salt, and finally the evaporated milk. Stir everything together and the delicious laksa gravy is ready to be used. Unlike laksa noodles sold elsewhere, the ones sold in Katong are cut into smaller pieces before they are served, to the delight of the laksa fans.
The noodles, they are okay. They are cut in such a way that you do not, for those people who do not know how to use chopsticks, you can just use a spoon and put it in your mouth. Yeah. And it's relatively easy to eat in the sense that it's not so messy.
Some say it's best to eat laksa with a spoon instead of chopsticks.
用这个筷子呢，就是说把那些料米粉吃了，还有包括它的汤呢。你用汤匙呢，就是说一次哈，你这样拿起来的话，有里面有虾米啊、米啊、汤啊那些料，这样吃的话你会比较爽口。
What keeps Nancy's customers coming back for more is not just her special brew of laksa.
The service here is very good. This lady has been very friendly. She has this uncanny memory to be able to memorize the specific customers' orders. Like special orders, like if the customer wants special cockles, like my buddies here, sometimes they require certain things. So upon seeing their face, without placing orders, you'll know exactly what to prepare already. So that by the time when we sit down, the thing is almost ready to serve.
Meanwhile, some distance away from this heated laksa neighborhood is another laksa stall called Roxy Laksa at East Coast Lagoon Food Center. The owner, Mr. Lim Swee Heng, says it's a Roxy tradition to exclude cockles from its recipe.
That originates from my granddad. We don't use cockle all the world.
But to die-hard cockle fans, laksa is just not the same without cockles.
No cockle means not nice already. Where's laksa? Laksa should have that. No laksa, funny. No laksa days they change They think they put long tofu inside. I find it funny.
On the other hand, this has not deterred faithful followers. After all, Roxy Laksa has been around in Singapore for almost 50 years. It was founded by Mr. Lim's grandfather. He named his stall after its next-door neighbor, the old Roxy Theatre on East Coast Road. In 1979, the family moved the stall to its current location at the East Coast Lagoon Food Centre. Mr. Lim took over the business when his father retired. Like Marine Parade Laksa, Roxy Laksa has a strong following. Violet Un is also one of its regular customers. What makes Roxy stand out from the rest?
Basically, nothing special. Rice noodles, tauge, prawn fish cake, coconut milk, and of course my secret recipe.
It's understandable that Mr. Lim would guard his recipe with such secrecy. After all, there's a lot of competition in his neighborhood. With all this sworn secrecy on the recipe, an authentic one is hard to come by. Prima Food Private Limited has found a wonderful solution. 2.5 years ago, they came up with ready-made laksa paste. Now, Singaporeans can cook laksa at home. Those working or living overseas can cook this dish for parties or when they're homesick. Right now, the paste needs to be refrigerated, so customers buying in bulk can ask for special packing with dry ice and a letter of certification to show to customs. Presently, laksa paste is among the top sellers here, but initially, things weren't that smooth sailing.
The biggest challenge is to come up with a product without the compromise that you normally get when you produce something in a factory. We wanted to produce an authentic laksa using our paste product, and we have managed to have a breakthrough in achieving that, as such that when you use our paste to cook a laksa dish, you'll get quality which is as good as any good hawker stall that you can find in Singapore. We have looked into the process of this coconut milk to make sure that the bowl of laksa that you can come up with using our product is just as original and authentic. And if you ask anyone that is overseas, say in Europe or in the States or Australia, for example, they will tell you that it is either very difficult or not possible to find laksa leaves. We have looked into such problems, and we are glad to say that very soon we will even be able to allow the consumers to have ingredients like laksa leaves.
Indeed, Prima Taste Restaurant is doing a roaring trade. Each day, the chef has to whip up 20 large pots of laksa gravy, which translates to about 300 bowls. On weekends, business is even more brisk and the queue grows longer. And it's not just the locals who are addicted to laksa.
I like this laksa very much. I've had laksa in Australia and in Brunei. They don't make as nice food as here in Singapore.
I'm Japanese. I've been here for 2 years, and my favorite food is laksa.
I came from Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm having holiday in Singapore, but every time I came here, I always prefer to eat laksa over here. This is the best one. In Jakarta, the soup is not thick like this, and then they don't have this like rice noodle. They serve like bihun, and then they have chicken and egg like that's different.
While overseas visitors come here for laksa, Prima Laksa Paste has done a fair bit of traveling too.
We have begun to export to regional countries, for example Australia, Philippines, places like Hong Kong. But other than exports, we must say that the consumers are very excited with our products, and many of them have actually brought this product back to wherever they're residing in. For example, London, the States, Canada, even to Switzerland, Geneva.
Just like